Hey guys, I'm Sam. So I guess this is kind of a new thing I'm doing. So, it's been a couple of weeks, but I cannot stop thinking about Wonder Woman 1984. That movie, oh my goodness, that is stuck in my head. Like the decisions, I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. It's not the worst movie. It's definitely not the worst movie in the DCU, but I'm not going to call it like a great movie either. There was good acting. There was good acting, and I understand where Patty Jenkins and the crew were coming from. I'm going to assume they had the best of intentions with that movie, but just so many confusing elements. Steve Trevor and his possessing of another man. Diana suddenly just Diana suddenly just making a plane go invisible. Like, hey, I've been learning this for the past 50 years. 50 years ago, I made a coffee cup invisible, and now I'm gonna make this plane invisible. Just a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense. So I was thinking, how can I fix this? And I was like, okay, there are probably a lot of videos on people going, how do we fix Wonder Woman 1984? So I had a better idea. How about I pitch a Wonder Woman sequel? A sequel I would have wanted to see. Let's see. Okay, so let's do this. So basic thing is I'm keeping some of the elements. I'm keeping Barbara. I'm keeping magical MacGuffin artifacts. I'm keeping the gold suit. So I'm keeping stuff like that. But this is basically a top-down rewrite of the movie. Okay, so this movie is Wonder Woman 1975, harkening back to the Wonder Woman TV show. So, how do we start? We start. Diana, since 1918, since the war ended, has been searching for artifacts left on the mortal realm by the gods. That is her mission. We are giving her a mission statement, one distinctly different from Batman, from Superman, from Aquaman, from Shazam. We are carving out a distinct corner of the DC universe for Diana. She is the mythology hero. Okay, so it's 1975. Diana's been searching for these artifacts. She's been working with her brother, Hephaestus. Hephaestus, the Greek god of masonry. He a long time ago was the guy who made all these artifacts for the Greek gods. And the gods, they loved nothing more than to send those artifacts down to the world of mortals and to just see what kind of chaos that would reap and sow in the world of mortals. So now Hephaestus, a few thousand years ago, got fed up with this and decided to move down to the underworld with Hades, who is just removed from all of this. So Diana and Hephaestus have been working together to reclaim these artifacts before they can do irreparable damage to the world of man. These artifacts are dangerous. They're corrupting. They're just pure. It's just pure chaos with them. So we open in 1975, and Diana is on the search for this new stone. This stone that is able to imbue mortals with power, but that power has to come. It's an addictive power, and that power has to come from somewhere. Okay? We also have Diana. She has her invisible plane. It was created by Hephaestus, and she lives in it, and that's how she travels around the world. This movie, it's not set in America. It's not set in North America. She's not a museum curator. She is an adventurer going around the world. She lives in the invisible plane. That's how she gets around the world. We're also going to set up that her and Barbara Nerva have been friends for years. And Barbara Nerva is not that superhero cliche of, oh, I'm kind of a nerd, but then I get beautiful, and now I'm going to become the super villain who takes down the hero. No, we're doing away with that trope. We're taking it back to my favorite version of Barbara Minerva, the Barbara Minerva from the Rebirth comics, where she is this cool, adventure-seeking, confident archaeologist. She's basically an Indiana Jones type or a Laura Croft type. And she, too, has spent her life searching for these artifacts of the gods. She and Diana have been friends for years, and she knows that Diana is this immortal demigoddess Amazonian. So they're searching for this stone, but they're searching for the stone. They're on two separate but similar quests that are converging on the stone, and they are racing against the clock. Why? Because there's somebody else again. There's somebody else looking for this stone. Who's looking for the stone? Our villain of the movie, Cersei. That's right, guys. No Maxwell Lord in this movie. No. We are doing Cersei. Now, what's so important about this stone? Well, the stone was created by the Duke of Deception. The Duke of Deception is a Wonder Woman villain. This movie, he is also a former disciple of Ares. So, Cersei wants this stone because she believes it will increase her power. You see, we're going to explain that later. But for right now, what you need to know about Cersei is she's a manipulator. She's a sorceress. She's older than she is, has existed longer than Diana. And she has a penchant for turning people into animals. So throughout Act 1, Barbara and Cersei and Diana are all searching for this stone, and they eventually all find it. Cersei's able to get her hands on it first, and it just increases her power, and now she is able to create what she calls beastamorphs. Now, beastamorphs aren't just humans turned into animals. No, they're these human-animal hybrid creatures that are strong and fast and powerful, and that's what Cersei turns her followers into these beastamorphs. And so Diana is now battling these beastamorphs. And meanwhile, Barbara, who is not really an experienced fighter, she's using her brains and her cunning to sneak around and take the stone. Cersei, a major flaw for Cersei is that she is just too gleefully invested in the chaos she causes. So she gets distracted watching Diana get defeated by these new beastamorphs. So Barbara is able to get her hand on the stone. Now, I bet you're asking, so Cersei got this new power. Where's that power coming from? Well, you see, Cersei is stealing life force from the animals around her. That's how she's getting her power. Okay? So now Barbara takes hold of the stone. And so the stone ends up giving Barbara powers. But where do these powers come from? They're Diana's powers. Cersei immediately realizes that the stone has been taken from her, and so she sicks her beastamorphs on Barbara, and now Barbara's not an experienced fighter, so she loses the battle. Cersei gets away with the stone and her beastamorphs. That's the end of Act 1. Act 2. Barbara has to learn how to use her abilities. Diana basically has to train her to use these abilities. So, how are we doing this? Yeah, it's basically a Rocky style, Hercules style training montage, but also the two of them have to go down to the underworld, down to Hephaestus, to find out more about the stone. You see, Hephaestus created the stone for the Duke of Deception, and the Duke of Deception sent it down to the world of mortals. So now, they have to learn how to reverse the effects of the stone. And throughout the movie, Barbara and Diana, they've been friends for years, so they're having this witty banter. They're always harkening back to previous adventures that the two of them had together. Like, oh, hey Diana, this reminds me of that time we took on the Harpies. I remember that, Barbara. Remember that move that we did? Oh yeah. I was bait, and then you lassoed up the harpy, and it took you flying. That was a fun adventure. That was a fun adventure. See, they're always harkening back to that. So they get down to the underworld, but here's the thing with the underworld: the creatures of the underworld instinctually attack living mortals that make their way down there, and since Diana no longer has her abilities, they attack her. So Barbara has to defend her friend Diana, But Diana's not, she's not entirely weak and unable to do anything. She still has centuries of combat experience, and she has her sword and her shield. Together the two of them are able to hold their own against these creatures of the underworld for a bit until Hephaestus comes here and he disperses the creatures. He apologizes. Sorry, Diana. You know how they are against mortals. Why have you brought a mortal down to our realm? Well, Cersei has gotten the stone. We need to know how to reverse it. The stone gave Barbara my powers. And Barbara's like, wait, who is this guy again? Diana's like, this is my brother, Hephaestus. He made stone. You made the stone? Look, it was a different time. It was a different time. I was a different god back then. I'm on the side of... I'm not on the side of mortals, but I'm not on the side of my Olympians. Now, am I? Okay. Stick tight, ladies. I know I put that inscription here somewhere. So he goes and he gets them the inscription to perform a ritual to reverse the effects of the stone. The person who was affected by a stone, given power by a stone, needs to be touching the stone when this incantation is recited. Barbara is a bit hesitant there's a bit of hesitation, a hesitant look on Barbara's face when they hear that they have to reverse it and take away her powers, but she's like, this is probably what's best for the world. Because deep down Barbara's still a good person. And so Diana also makes clear that we need to destroy the stone. It's too dangerous. It gives off this addictive power and will harm the world of mortals. So now they have to go find Cersei. What's Cersei been doing? Cersei's been gathering materials to prepare for this ritual. Why has she been preparing for this ritual? Well, on their way down to the underworld, Diana and Barbara Diana was explaining to Barbara who Cersei is. Cersei, thousands of years ago, used to be a part of the Greek pantheon. She used to be the goddess of magic. And with the other gods, she loved nothing more than causing chaos and mischief in the world of man. But her appetite wasn't only limited to mortals, so she started inflicting such chaos on her fellow gods. So they cast her out into the world of mortals. And since then, she's been amassing power and followers so she can one day reclaim her spot. Okay? So, we've reached the end of the second act. Barbara and Diana find... by the way, back in the underworld, Hephaestus, seeing that Diana is now mortal and that she can get hurt and that she's getting hurt fighting the demons of the underworld and the beastamorphs, he gives her the gold armor as a way to protect herself. It's this enchanted armor that he has created. It can fly, it can protect her, it can shoot its wing blades, it can shoot its wing feathers like blades. It's cool armor, guys. It's cool armor, and here's a reason to have it. So anyway, they find Cersei, and they need to come up with a plan. So that plan is, since Diana is still the more experienced fighter, she will take on the beastamorphs, while Barbara sneaks around and grabs the stone, subdues Cersei and grabs the stone. Diana gives Barbara the lasso of truth, and she's like, I fully trust you to do this. I trust you to do this, Barbara. And so now Diana is fighting the beastamorphs, and Barbara is going to go fight Cersei. And the fight between Cersei is going on, and Cersei and Barbara is going on, and Cersei is noticing what gleeful joy Barbara is taking in her abilities. Barbara really has fun with her abilities, but you can tell it's kind of this addictive fun. She's gotten a bit addicted to the powers, but at the same time she's a good person inside, so she realizes we need to put an end to the stone. So Barbara is able to subdue Cersei with the lasso of truth. Barbara puts her hand on the stone, and she recites an incantation which takes her powers and gives them back to Diana. So now they're waiting for Diana to defeat the Beastamorphs, and that's when Cersei starts working her manipulative magic. Like, hey, Barbara, Barb, can I call you Barb? Look, I saw how you were with your powers. You were with your powers. You were good. Look, I'm not a bad guy, but I'm not a bad girl, Barbara. I just want to reclaim my spot on the Pantheon. I don't want to take over the world. I just want to be a god again. It's been thousands of years. And why on earth should only beings like Diana get to keep their powers? Why can't people like you and me get to have our powers? You know, once upon a time, I wasn't always a god. I was like you. I was immortal, but I ascended towards godhood. Because why should only they get to have the power? If you free me, Barbara, I will give you the power that I know you crave. Join me, and we can prove that not only they aren't the only ones that get to have this power. No. We all deserve the power, Barbara. Come on, trust me. You know it's what you want. Barbara, she briefly gives in to temptation and frees Cersei. And Cersei, true to her word, actually gives Barbara power. She makes her into a new Beastamorph. Into a cheetah Beastamorph. Yep. And so now she sends Barbara out to fight Diana, while Cersei finishes the ritual. So Cersei finishes up the ritual, and the gates to Olympus open up, and she begins to ascend. And who she finds at the gates but the Duke of Deception? And the Duke of Deception is like, did you really believe we would allow a mortal like you to ascend again? No. I'm thinking, let's have a little bit of fun here. Cersei. So he kills Cersei and is going to allow her Beastamorphs to just run wild and rampant. He's like, know your place in all this, Cersei. Know your place. And so now, so Barbara and Diana are fighting, but through the power of friendship, and Barbara still being essentially a good person, Diana is able to convince Barbara to just take a moment to realize what is happening, what is going on here. Look, these Beastamorphs, they are running wild and rampant. But together, you and me can defeat them. Are you still my friend, Barbara? Are you still that good woman who's just in search of myths and legends? Are you still that good woman inside? And Barbara is. So now they are working together to defeat the Beastamorphs. Barbara is fighting the Beastamorphs, while Diana takes the stone and opens up another portal to the underworld, and she is flying back. She is zooming back to the underworld. She still has the gold winged armor, so she is zooming back to the underworld, and the Beastamorphs are following her. She is zooming back, and she takes it back to Hephaestus, and Hephaestus destroys the stone. And so Barbara and all the other humans who had been turned to Beastamorphs, they turned back into regular humans. So like the day is saved. The day is saved, and they get all the humans back to the mortal realm. And then we cut to later on where Diana and Hephaestus are having a conversation. Like, that was a close one this time. Brother. Can't believe Cersei almost won. Well, you have to remember, sister, she's been dead before. It's only a matter of time until one of her foolish followers raises her up from the dead again. And so Diana's like, oh, don't worry, I'll be ready for that day. And so we cut to the final scene, and it is Barbara searching for a way to become a cheetah again. Now, would this be a great movie? No, probably not. It would be a fun movie. Yep, Cersei isn't like a super... My version of Cersei isn't like a super deep villain. She has motivations, but like she'd also be really hammy and she'd chew all the scenery. Just all the scenery. But it's really a movie built on this friendship between Barbara and Diana, and also this idea of power corrupting. Yeah, this theme of power corrupting. And I like that we basically only have five characters, five major characters here: Barbara, Diana, Cersei, Hephaestus, and the Duke of Deception. I feel like we do a lot with them, and I think this would be a fun movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Will you think this would be fun? And what's your sequel pitch for a Wonder Woman sequel? Okay, well, I've been Sam, signing off. See ya.